Hello friends, I'm FIDE instructor Atul Dahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to see a very special game played by the young grandmaster from India, that is R Pragnananda. Yes, in the online chess Olympiad in the top division, Indian team defeated the giant Chinese team with a big margin of 4-2, and this feat was achieved because of our young stars. Yes, when our big players like the top players Vidit Gujarati, Pentala Harikrishna, Konir Hampi and Harika Durnali drew their respective games against very strong Chinese players, that is the Ding Liren, Yu Yangyi, Hao Yifan and Zhu Wenjun. The responsibility of winning this title, or you can say responsibility of winning this match, was on the young shoulders, that is the Pragnananda and Divya Deshmukh, and they did not disappoint us. They played in a thrilling match and they brought the victories for our Indian team, and finally we won the match with a big margin. And this is a big thing for Indian team because we qualified for the quarterfinals directly after this victory, because we were the champion of the top division A pool. So what happened in this game we are going to see in a very short while, but before we go to the game, I would like to see in the comment section you should write India OP for our team India's victory over China. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. So in this game Pragnananda was white, his opponent Li Yuan, who was 20 years old grandmaster from China, was black. The game started with e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, Petrov defense. Well, this opening is known for very drawish nature, but Pragnananda was up like with something interesting. He played d4 in this position. Usually knight takes e5, d6, knight f3, knight takes e4, d4, d5, bishop d3 and all such equal lines are there. Well, those lines are also interesting, but those lines are a little bit equal. Nowadays people play d4 move, which is very interesting idea in this position. Knight takes e4 and now d takes e5. Well, instead of d takes e5, bishop d3 is also, which is a very solid line, we can say. After d5, knight takes e5, bishop d6 and the game will go on, because white will be having solid structure in the center of the board, so as black. But here Pragnananda decided to play d takes e5, d5 was played and knight bd2. Just to let you know, this position has already, this kind of opening has already played by Pentala Harikrishna, our India's top 3 grandmasters, one of the top 3 grandmasters, and he played this variation against Fabiano Caruana. In that case, after knight takes d2, Harikrishna decided to play queen takes d2, and after c5, c3, knight c6, queen f4, h6, bishop d3, the game became very complex after some time, and unfortunately Harikrishna lost that game. But in this game which we are looking at, Pragnananda decided to play bishop d2, a very simple idea, that's developing a piece in the center of the board and going with your development. Bishop e7 was played, bishop d3. White has already developed these two bishops, and it might, okay, this is discouraging for black, because now both the bishops are eyeing towards the king side. So black plays bishop g4 move, trying to pin this knight on f3. h3 was played, bishop h5, now castles and knight d7. Obviously castling is one of the moves which is possible in this position, but as I mentioned earlier, black might be little bit discouraged to castle in this position immediately because of these two bishops which are eyeing towards the king side. So here knight d7 was played, and now here when I was analyzing this position in the live stream with Grandmaster Sham Sundar, we thought like, okay, Pragnananda might play something very simple like queen e2 and he will develop his pieces with rook d1 and rook e1, but we were we were surprised by Pragnananda's next move, that was g4 move. Well, after g4 move, you can say that Prag has already showed his intention that he is going to for the kill. He is not going to compromise just for a draw, playing very solid chess. He wants something aggressive in this position, and his opponent was little bit matured, you can say, very matured obviously, and he played in a very strong line. He played bishop g6, bishop f5, and now if you castle in this position, that is also possible, but he decides to long castle in that position. So he plays c6, after bishop f4, bishop takes f5, g takes f5, and you can say black has no intentions to castle on the king side, because let's suppose you castle also in this position, then what will happen is like white will play king h1 followed by rook g1, and he will be putting pressure on black's king continuously. And that is not something which any player would like to play against. So in this position he plays queen b6, then queen e2. The idea is to play c4 if black castles on the queen side. That's exactly what happened in the game. After long castle, c4 was played, d takes c4, queen takes c4, and now his opponent plays queen b4, offering queen exchange. Well, if you are a little bit like in the mood that no matter what happens, I am going to keep the queens on the board and I will try to attack on my black's king, opponent's king, then you will play queen c1, but this will be a huge mistake because this will give lots of counterplay for black pieces. After knight c5, the knight d3 is the threat. The rook is also having this d file, and this is not something which you should play. So Praggnanandhaa shows a great maturity in this position. He says like, okay, you want exchanges of the queen, I'll exchange of the queens. I'm not going to be afraid of queenless endgames, and I'm going to fight on till the end. So he plays bishop g3, bishop e7. He calmly places his rook on e1 square, knight c5. Now the natural move, rook c1 will fail to knight d3. So Praggnanandhaa stops this thing with rook e2 move, and now rook d5. Well, what to do now? Here in this position, Praggnanandhaa plays rook c1 with some kind of great intention in his mind. Okay, here the best move from black side was to play h5 so that he can go for the h4 and try to dislodge or disturb this pawn structure or the piece position of the g3 bishop. But here, okay, white needs to play rook c4 and he needs to defend against the h4 idea. But here black decided to play against the pawn structure of white side and he plays f6. Here obviously e takes f6 is a big mistake, because after bishop takes f6, the bishop will be very well placed in this in this position. And after, let's suppose you play b3, still your pawn on f5 is hanging, so we can just capture the rook takes f5, and I will prefer this position from black side. So that was not something which Pragg wanted in this position. He plays rook bishop h4 in this position, then bishop d8. Obviously now the idea is to play f takes e5, so he plays rook c4, a good idea. The idea is to play rook g4 followed by attacking on g7 pawn. He plays f takes e5, and now rook g4. The pawn on g7 is being attacked, so his opponent plays bishop f6. Another good move from his opponent was to play e4, but this would have led to something like knight g5, and you can say that this pawn on f5 is surely going to fall, and Pragg needs to play in some kind of very precautious way in that case. Here after knight g5, knight e4 is also one of the ideas, but before we go for that, black can play h5, rook g3, and now he will capture the pawn on f5, and black will be having some interesting position. That's what I will say. So after rook g4, bishop f6 was played, and now after bishop f6, he plays knight g5, h6, knight f7, and we thought like, okay, the knight is not going to have any squares to come back. But here after rook f8, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, knight h6 is a good move which we missed in the calculation. Well, now the f5 pawn is being protected, and one more good thing has happened in this position, that white has the h pawn as the passed pawn. So black realized that now he needs to do something concrete in this position, so he plays rook d7. The idea is obviously to play rook h7 and attack on knight, followed by the pawn on h3. So he plays rook g6 supporting the knight here and also attacking the pawn on f6. The next idea is to play knight g4 followed by pressurizing on f6 pawn. So he plays knight d3. The idea is to play knight f4 and attack both the rooks. In that case, Pragg plays rook d2, getting away from that threat, but still black plays knight f4. The exchange of rooks now happens, and now rook g7. Objectively speaking, this position should be drawn, but Pragg decides to keep on playing in this position and pressurize his opponent, and under pressure the position becomes very double-edged, and his opponent thinks that okay, now maybe I can win the position, and he tries a little bit more, and that leads to his defeat. So we are going to see what really happened in the position, because this is a very tricky position. I'll say king h2 was played to support the pawn on h3. Now knight h5, the rook is being attacked, rook h7, knight f4, again he comes back. Now it's time to push our pawns, because it is said that whenever you have the passed pawn, you should try to push it as soon as possible. Here his opponent understand that merely just sitting to protect the pawn on f6 is not going to help him. He needs to create his own chances. So he plays rook d8, obviously with the idea of playing rook d2 and pressurizing white's pawns on the 7th rank. Here rook f7 was played. He tries to defend the position with knight h5. The pawn on f6 is being defended. Pragg again puts pressure on the f6 pawn. rook d4 is played. Now the pawn on h4 is going to fall for sure, but Prag says, okay, you want to take the h4 pawn, take it, I'll take the f6 pawn, rook h4 check, king g2, knight f6, rook f6, rook f4. Well, again we have arrived at a position where we can say the position is completely balanced in this position. White has a passed pawn in this position, but black's king is very near to this pawn, and especially the rook is behind the passed pawn, so the passed pawn is not going to queen very easily. But Prag keeps on playing and he provokes his opponent to play in something very different in this position. He plays rook f7, not allowing this king to come in the game very easily because the pawn on b7 will be falling. He plays a5, king g3, keeping the eye on the rook on f4 so that black cannot play e4 at any moment. King b8. Objectively speaking, I feel that the king should be near the pawn and it should not go away from the main action which is happening on the king side. Here f6 is played, a4, a standard idea, rook f8 check, and now here black should play king to c7. If f7 is played, then king d6. Even if you give a check, then the king will come to e7 square and the pawn will not queen for sure. So king c7 was a very necessary idea in this position, but black played king a7. Okay, that is also possible, but now he is trying to win the game, and that what leads to his defeat. Now Pragnananda says, okay, now the pawn on f6 is not going to queen very soon, so I need to get rid of the pawn on e5 so that I have the next pawn which is there on the f2 square, and I will start pushing the pawn on the f file. So he plays rook e8, rook f6, rook e5, king b6, and now f4. He has his own passed pawn on the other side of the board, so he keeps on going in this position. And here black should have realized that he needs to create his own passed pawn. So the best idea from black side was to play a3. If ba3 is played, then he can go for c5 and the c pawn will be very strong in this position. Let's say for example I play f5, then c4, then if you play king f4, then rook c6, then if you play rook e6, or even rook e6 also is a good idea. If rook takes e6, f takes e6, king c6, and here after king e3, king d6, king d4, king e6, king c4, I will say that this position will be clearly drawn because the h pawn means the rook pawns are there and it should be a completely drawn position. Another thing is that after a3, if b3 is played from white side, then black has a very nice idea that the rook putting the rook behind the passed pawn, and he should play rook g6 check, king f2. If you play, then we can just simply play rook g4 or even rook d6 trying to come here on d2 square, or if he plays king f3, then we have rook g1. If f5 is played, rook f1, and if king g2, rook f4, king g3, rook f1, and black should be able to hold the position because his rook will be behind the passed pawn. Always remember this thing, that it is a very useful technique to put the rook behind the passed pawn. But he plays rook d6 going for the rook d2 square, and now Prag stops this threat with rook e2, now rook d1, and now the pawn keeps moving. Here also the final chance for his opponent was to play rook f1, that is the rook behind the passed pawn, and if white plays rook f2, then obviously this position will be drawn because this king is very near to this pawn and it is in the square of the pawn which is there in this case, and the game should end in a draw. But he plays rook g1, and now this gives Pragnananda a big opportunity to launch, and he grabs the opportunity with both of his hand and he wins the game in big style. So rook f1, king g5. Now it is already very difficult position, and I was very happy when I was looking at this position because this will give India a big lead in the match also, and India eventually won the match after king d4. I'll just go through the moves: king g6, king d3, rook g2, a very nice idea, not allowing any checks on the g file, b5, f7. Well, these pawns are quite behind and they are not going to queen very soon. b4, rook g5, the idea of building the bridge and followed by queening the pawn is very standard. Rook f7 was played by his opponent, and now this is just the elementary win because after this check, white is blocking this king, and he wins in a very simplistic way. He just allows this pawn to move forward and the pawn moves there, rook g1 check, and here he just grabs the a4 pawn, and here his opponent resigned because no matter what happens, the pawn is going to queen and Pragnananda is going to win the game. So this game brought India a big win against the giant like China. I hope you enjoyed this game played by our youngster under pressure. He took all the responsibility of the match situation, and obviously another good young talented player Divya Deshmukh also won. we are going to look at that game also in the next video. Stay tuned with me for that video. Until that time, take care and enjoy this video. Thank you very much for watching it.